it's realized, there will be unrealized before it. It'll cancel each other out, so it's not going to appear here. Now, like last year when we did it, the unrealized will appear because it's first, but the realized won't because it'll cancel out with the unrealized. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Oh, and that's downstream or upstream. Okay, then wait a second. Why do I have realized M up here for net income? I thought it would be canceled out. Well, net income is just the slice of this year, just year. So we're not looking back at year 4. But, because income statements are year by year, right? Balance sheets are cumulative. Therefore, NCI and retained earnings look cumulatively all the way back. So, this and this would cancel each other out. The realized would be canceled by the realized from the year before. Okay? Okay, let's see what else we have here. So then we get the subs. We have the subs retained earnings at year 5, subs retained earnings at acquisition. You can look that up. Now, cumulative amortization impairment. So we need our changes in AD schedule, which takes a little bit of searching, but you can find it. It's on page 8. So, where are we standing? Are we standing at the beginning of year 5 for beginning retained earnings, or the end of year 5 for end retained earnings? We're standing at the end. So we need the cumulative changes. So which are we going to take? Which of these columns? Well, these are balances. We need the changes. So we're going to take the 650 and the 630, because those are changes that have happened from acquisition to where we are standing, which is the end of year 5. If it were the beginning of year 5, we'd only count these, because those are the only ones that have happened. But it's not. It's the end of year 5, so we take both of these. So this is going to be our 630 plus 650. And it's subtracted because net income is going down. Now we need the upstream one. So we've got an upstream unrealized, it's still in the circle, of 90. We have an upstream, sorry, that's unrealized, upstream realized of 180. This was sold. Now, we need to put all the cumulative on there. So, this one, it's always unrealized first with inventory, with depreciable assets, with the assets. But I don't want you to make that a hard and fast rule, because there's bonds, which I'll talk about briefly in chapter 7, which actually you have realized first, then unrealized, which kind of messes things up a little. Okay, so here, upstream unrealized, that's the first transaction with this, ending inventory year 5. Year 6, it'll be sold. Okay, so we can put that one in. Cumulative unrealized upstream, and it's negative 90. We take after tax, net income's going down, so we're going to subtract it. But then, in case you're wondering what upstream realized, we've got year 5 realized upstream for 180, and it's plus 180 because net income's going up. But if you look back at year 4 on page 6, you'll see upstream unrealized for 180, that's negative. So that's year 4 unrealized upstream which is negative 180, because net income's going down, which means its net overall is 0. Okay, so again, the minute you realized in inventory, you know the unrealized from will cancel it, so don't put it in retained earnings and NCI. Okay, let's look on page 10 at the calculation for NCI on the balance sheet at the end of year 5. And notice that the textbook is going to show an alternative method as well. There's different ways you can calculate NCI. Doesn't matter how you do it. Just pick one and go with it. So, NCI is 10% or NCI percent. The subs, common shares, and retained earnings. And remember, this is at the end of year 5 or whatever year you're at, minus cumulative upstream unrealized. How come I don't add the realized stuff? Because no realized inventory profits included, because unrealized from previous year cancels it out. So just a little reminder, same as retained earnings. Okay, the other thing you want to remember is upstream only. Okay, so we take 10%, you can look up those numbers. Now, upstream, so we look at our little upstream on page 9. Upstream, we have 2, it's got to be cumulative. We're going to include this one because it's not canceled by anything, because it's the driving one, the first one. We're not going to use this income. Last year, in year 4, this was negative 180. It would be canceled out with the positive 180. Okay? So, we've got the 90. This is unrealized year 5, and it's upstream. But you could also think of it as a plus 180 and a minus 180 for a net of 0. And then the balance in amortization impairment. So looking back at page 8, we take the balance, we're standing at the end, 4220. And that's from page 8. Now you can complete the consolidated financial statements, and those are on page 8. So let's just kind of get this straight. What are the things you're going to look at? Basic transactions, changes in AD, unrealized, realized schedule, oh, and our calculations. So look at those, the solution on Blackboard. So you're doing exactly the same thing, putting everything in and then adding across, and hopefully everything will total properly. Luckily, you guys can use Excel on your exam, so that'll make it a little easier than trying to add everything by hand. Okay, I'm going to leave that for you to finish. And on the next video, we'll finish off the chapter. Well, it might take 2, we'll see. Okay, see you later.